How French and British colonialism contributed to the rise of English and French as the lingua franca. I was visiting patients in my office one day. A lady in traditional and stylish African dress came complaining of back pain. She was said to be the wife of an ambassador from a West African country, Ghana. She was accompanied by another well-dressed black lady who translated her words into English for me. They spoke French together. I asked them why they were speaking French. She explained that she was from another West African country, Senegal, and they couldn't understand each other's native language. Lingua franca is the common language that people of different languages and dialects use to communicate. It is not necessarily the mother tongue of those people, or the official language of their country. On that day, for those two people, French was the lingua franca, while for me and the translator, English was the lingua franca. I spoke English with the professors and surgeons at the Katerinnen Hospital when I was in Stuttgart, Germany, for a hand surgery fellowship. In many parts of the world, English and French serve as common languages, and are reminders of the occupation and colonization of Britain and France in the past 2 centuries. Some within the boundaries of one or more countries, and others internationally, serve as common languages, or lingua franca. Some languages have gained such a role in the past, while others have lost it. There are a number of social, cultural, and political factors involved in gaining and losing this role. Aramaic was once the lingua franca of people in Mesopotamia and to the east of the Mediterranean Sea. It was the language of worship, the language of Christ, and according to the Bible, it was the language of Adam and Eve. In southern Europe and along the Mediterranean Sea, Greek was a common language during this period, and for centuries afterwards. Greek was the language of knowledge and philosophy for centuries, and many Christian religious texts were translated into, or written in Greek. Following the rise and spread of Islam in the Middle East and North Africa, the Arabic language became the common language in these areas. In addition to performing religious rituals, people used this language for business and education. During this time, many philosophical and scientific books were translated from Greek to Arabic. During the Turkish-Persian Islamic empires of the 16th to 18th centuries, the Persian language was used for civil affairs and trade all the way from Asia Minor to the Indian subcontinent. Following the conquest of South America by Spain and Portugal, Spanish and Portuguese became the official languages of those countries. It was the same with the expansion of Russian territory under Peter the Great and his predecessors. As Russians spread eastward, the Russian language became the lingua franca, and then the official language of the Caucasus, Central Asia, Siberia, all the way to the coast of the Pacific Ocean. Today, English is the official language of only a few countries, but it is used internationally as a common language in education, business and travel. Scientific books and articles are written in English. Officials communicate in English. Searching the internet and using cyberspace is limited in today's world if you do not know the English language. This all dates back to colonial era. In the old British colonies where the sun never set, English became the language of choice, and it continues to be so to this day. During the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century, France conquered many lands on the African continent, and looted its resources. In the second half of the 20th century, France maintained its influence on African countries in a variety of ways. 8 West African countries and 6 countries in the center of the continent still use the CFA franc as a currency unit. They are printed in France and were pegged to the French franc before the euro was introduced, and to the euro afterwards. Today, more than 50 countries, mostly in Africa, are members of the International Organization of French-Speaking Countries. Approximately half of today's African nations were once French colonies. Among the dominant countries in the world, France has the largest military presence on the African continent. In 10 African countries, French is the only official language, and in 11 other countries, it is the second official language. Madagascar has 2 official languages, the Malagasy language and the French language, which is a reminder of the bitter era of French colonialism and exploitation.